The last Nuzlocke I did, using only edible Pokémon, was pretty subjective. I'm sure a lot of people would say that Garbodor isn't very edible, but I think there are also a lot of people that would say that Magneton would be edible with enough effort. So this time, we're going for something a little more objective. We're going to beat Pokemon Brilliant Diamond using only bipedal Pokemon. Now, I did a lot of research for this run. I read 2 whole articles on Wikipedia. I'm an expert on what is and what isn't bipedal, and I can tell you right now, Chimchar is a knuckle dragger, that's not bipedal. I can also tell you that birds are in fact bipedal, so that means Piplup is the only choice. So we take him and aim him this way, and it's not long before we catch a Starly, who we name Sunshine, and a Badoo, who we name Of Life. Between this way and Sunshine, our rival is a piece of cake. It's not long before we can move on and catch more Pokemon, including D's Boots the Kricketot, and Water the Geodude. And because Kricketot evolves at level 10, it's not long before D's Boots becomes our Kricketune. After a little more training, we're ready to take on Rourke, the first gym leader. We open the fight with This Way, and he starts with a Geodude, which goes down to a single water gun. Onix is next. It outspeeds us and hits a rock throw, and it survives a water gun thanks to its sturdy. At the next turn, Rourke uses a potion, not healing it to full, so another water gun takes it out. Cranidos is next, and it hits a headbutt that leaves us with just a third of our HP left. We won't be able to survive another one. But This Way hits a water gun, taking it out in one shot, winning us the first gym badge. Not long after, we evolve Sunshine into a Staravia, and This Way into a Prinplup. In addition, we also catch a Buizel, who we name Broken Dreams. And next up is our first big fight with Team Galactic, against Mars. Mars opens with her Zubat, and we start with This Way. This Way outspeeds and hits a water gun, leaving Zubat with just over half its HP, but it hits a U-turn and switches to Perugly. So we swap to Sunshine, whose Intimidate ability lowers Perugly's attack. Perugly goes for a Fake Out on the switch, dealing a decent amount of damage to Sunshine. It then outspeeds and hits a Scratch as we use Growl, lowering its attack even more. After we lower its attack enough, we can switch out to D's Boots. We start hitting Perugly with Rock Smash, waiting for its defense to drop, and when it does, we switch to using Fury Cutter, a move that gets stronger with each consecutive use. And eventually, Perugly goes down. Zubat comes back out, and even though it quad resists Fury Cutter, it still takes a decent amount of damage from it. Or it would if we didn't get confused and start hitting ourselves. Eventually, we just swap back into Sunshine, who takes out Zubat with a wing attack, winning us the fight. Our next stop is Eterna City, and on the way there, we catch Egyptian, the Baniri, and Away, the Meditite. Moving on to the battle with Gardenia, she opens with her Cherubi, and we bring out D's Boots. D's Boots outspeeds Cherubi, and immediately hits it with a Fury Cutter for the one-hit KO. Turtwig is out next. But once again, we outspeed and land a Fury Cutter for a one-hit kill. And finally, we have to deal with Roserade. Roserade outspeeds and lands a Grass Knot, leaving us at just over half HP. But we land a critical hit Fury Cutter, taking it out in one shot and winning us our second badge. Before we take on Jupiter, we head over to the old chateau, where we catch Rick Ghastly. The fight with Jupiter starts just as it did with Mars. She opens with her Zubat, and we start with This Way. This Way outspeeds and lands a strong Bubble Beam, leaving Zubat with just under half of its HP. It goes for a Supersonic, but it misses, and we take it out with a Bubble Beam on the next turn. Skuntank is next, and it outspeeds This Way and hits us with a Snarl, lowering our special attack before we can land a Bubble Beam. Skuntank then hits us with a Poison Gas, but thanks to our Pecha Berry, we're immediately cured before we start hitting Metal Claw. But Metal Claw does much less damage than I was hoping for, so we have to switch back to Bubble Beam. But before we can land it, we're hit by another Snarl that lowers our special attack. We stay in for one more Bubble Beam, but once again, our special attack is lowered by Snarl. But our Bubble Beam manages to bring Skuntank below half health, using up its Citrus Berry. We can't leave him in against another Snarl in case it gets a critical hit. So we switch to Sunshine. Skuntank poisons Sunshine, but because we're holding a Petra Berry, we're immediately cured and we can start hitting it with wing attacks. And although Skuntank hits us hard with Flamethrower, we eventually manage to take it out with wing attack. Next up, we open this door over at Orberg, and we revive our dinosaur. Before we make it to Hearthome City, we catch a Cleffa, who we name 500 Miles. And once at Hearthome, we have another battle with our rival. He starts with Starly, and we start with This Way. We outspeed, and one Bubble Beam is enough to take it out. His Grottle is up next. So we switch to D's Boots as he uses Stealth Rock. We hit it with a Fury Cutter as it goes for Curse, but its defense boost isn't enough to save it from a second Fury Cutter. Ponyta is out next, and it brings D's Boots down to half HP with a Flame Charge. We hit it back with a Fury Cutter, leaving it with around 1 HP. So we switch back to This Way, who takes out Ponyta with a Bubble Beam while it just sits there spamming Agility. And finally, we have his Buizel to deal with. But a few Bubble Beams is more than enough to take it down, winning us this fight. Our next stop is Veilstone City, and on the way there we catch Pumped Up Kicks the Mime Jr., the Kadabra, who we named Take It On The, fantastic name, I know. And on top of that, 500 Miles evolves into a Clefairy, and Water evolves into a finally usable Graveler. We forgot to grab something on Route 210. Let's go back and see what we get. Frick. I was not expecting this. We catch our shiny Chansey and name her The Distance. Make it to Veilstone where we can get our swag on and take on the third gym leader, Maylene. She starts with her Meditite, and we send out Take It On The. Take It On The immediately hits a Dazzling Gleam for the one-hit KO, and Machoke comes out next. But Machoke also goes down to a single Psychic, and Lucario comes out next. We switch to Sunshine to get the Intimidate attack drop, but Lucario just goes for Bulk Up, giving him his attack back. We were going to use Pivot Strats here, but it's here that I realized I forgot to teach Sunshine U-turn, so we just have to use Growl. But they bulk up again. Lucario goes for a Drain Punch, bringing us down to just over a third of our HP left before our Citrus Berry heals us. And we hit him with another Growl, but I know we can't survive another hit, so we have to switch out. Water comes out as she begins to set up more bulk ups. We hit it with a Bulldoze, lowering its speed, but the next turn Lucario outspeeds us and hits us with a Drain Punch, one-hit KO on Water, who I could have sworn had the Sturdy ability. But no, it has Rock Head. So we switch to D's Boots. We start hitting it with Rock Smashes, hoping for the defense drop, and we get one, along with it being a critical hit. But D's Boots goes down to a Metal Claw that raises Lucario's attack. But we've lowered Lucario's HP enough for Take It On to come back out and finish Lucario with a Psychic, winning us this third gym badge. Not long after, we're able to evolve 750 Miles into a Clefable. Of Life also evolves into a Roselia. Now we can take on the fourth gym leader, Crasher Wake. He opens with his Gyarados, and we bring out 1,000 Miles. Gyarados lands an Ice Fang, not doing too much damage, and 1,000 Miles retaliates with a Thunderbolt, getting the one-hit KO. Quagsire is out next, but 1,000 Miles outspeeds and takes it out with a single Grass Knot. All that's left is Floatzel. Floatzel hits a much stronger critical hit Ice Fang, but it goes down to a single Thunderbolt as well, winning us our fourth gym badge. After this, we evolve our green Chansey into a slightly paler Blissey. Oh, that's oof. So, we have another rival battle next. He starts with a Starly, as always, and we start with 1,000 Miles, who takes it out with a single Thunderbolt. Weasel is out next, and it hits an Aqua Jet, and then dies to another Thunderbolt. Ponyta is next, and this time it takes 2 Thunderbolts before going down. Finally, we're up against Grotle, but we switch to Sunshine, and a couple wing attacks is enough to take it out. And while we're still in Pastoria City, we head over to the Great Marsh where we can catch ourselves a Krogunk. With the level cap raised quite a bit, we can start evolving a few more of our Pokemon. We evolve Sunshine into a Staraptor, this way into an Empoleon, Dinosaur into a Rampardos, and Egyptian into a Lopunny. Next up, we get to take on the single best gym in the entire Pokemon franchise, the Heart Home City Gym. We make it through, and we get to take on Fantina. We open with the Distance, while she sends out her Drifblim. A couple Thunderbolts is enough to take it out. Gengar is out next, and we hit it with the Psychic. But the Psychic gets disabled by Gengar's Cursed Body ability, and it hits us with a Confuse Ray on the next turn. But we push through and hit it with a Thunderbolt, taking it out. Mismagius is out next, but it can't do anything to the Distance. Any damage it does is soon healed by Life Dew, and it even gets burned by a Flamethrower. It's not long before Mismagius goes down, and we win our 5th gym badge. Next up, we head over to Canalave City, where we have another rival battle. Quadruped Fan has finally gotten around to evolving his Starly, but it's too late for the freaking It outspeeds this way and uses a double team, but we still hit it with an Ice Beam, taking it out on the first turn. Heracross is next, and we switch to Sunshine on a Brick Break. We tank it well and take Heracross out with an Aerial Ace on the next turn. Weasel is next, but it also goes down to a single Aerial Ace. So Ponyta comes after, and it survives an Aerial Ace and uses Agility, but we use Quick Attack, outspeeding it and taking it out. Grotle is next, but 2 Aerial Aces is enough to take it out, winning us this fight. Up next is our fight with Byron, the 6th gym leader. We open with Egyptian, the Lopunny, and he sends out his Bronzor. We immediately start hitting it with super effective Shadow Balls, but it survives and uses Trick Room, letting it outspeed us on the next turn and hit us with a Confuse Ray. But we push through the confusion and take it out with another Shadow Ball. Steelix is next, so we switch to Sunshine, who lowers its attack on the switch, and Steelix goes for a Sandstorm. Steelix hits Sunshine with a weak Thunder Fang, and we U-turn out of there. Trying to stall out the rest of the Trick Room turns, we swap back into Sunshine on an Earthquake, lowering Steelix's attack even further. We're then able to outspeed and U-turn into 1,000 Miles on a Thunder Fang. Knowing Steelix is going to go for a Gyro Ball against 1,000 Miles, we can safely swap into this way. He takes 4 damage from a Gyro Ball, and immediately heals all of that from leftovers. Steelix then goes down the next turn to Surf. Up last is Bastiodon, and 2 Surfs is enough to take out Bastiodon, winning us our 6th gym badge. Right after that, we have our battle with the last commander of Team Galactic, Saturn. He starts with his Kadabra, and we start with Dinosaur. Kadabra immediately sets up Reflect, allowing it to survive a Thief from Wait, did I say Tyranitar? Kadabra immediately uses Reflect, allowing it to survive a Thief from allowing it to survive a Thief from Dinosaur. It uses Rain Dance on the next turn, but goes down to a second Thief. Bronzor is out next. Thief doesn't do as much damage as I would have liked against it, so we use Swords Dance, but it hits us with a Confuse Ray. Not wanting to take a lot of damage from Confusion, we swap out into Egyptian. A couple Shadow Balls is enough to take out Bronzor, and out comes Saturn's last Pokemon, a Toxicroak. We take this opportunity to swap into 1,000 Miles, who takes out Toxicroak with a single Psychic. Shortly after this fight, a Way evolves into Medicham, and we're able to go to the Wayward Cave, where we can catch Carolean, the Gibble. And heading north, we can catch a Snover, who we name On the Beach. Yeah, great name. I know. Heading over to Snowpoint City, we have our fight with the 7th gym leader, Candace. She opens with her Snover, and we bring out 1,000 Miles. It's here that I realized I forgot to teach 1,000 Miles Flamethrower, so we start hitting it with a Dazzling Gleam. We take a lot of damage from Avalanche, but 2 Dazzling Gleams is enough to take out Snover. Sneasel is next, and it outspeeds and tries to set up Hone Claws, but we take it out with a single Dazzling Gleam anyways. Her Medicham is out next, and it hits us with an Ice Punch, before going down to Dazzling Gleam. All that's left is her Abomasnow. I didn't want to switch to this way in case it used Earthquake, so we swapped to Egyptian on a Blizzard, who takes a lot of damage. But we're able to heal some of it back with a Drain Punch on the next turn, as Abomasnow goes for Aurora Veil. We hit a weaker Drain Punch the next turn, but it brings Abomasnow low enough for its Citrus Berry to activate. Abomasnow hits Egyptian with a Blizzard, but she survives off of 1 HP, and then dies to hail damage. Tragic. Sunshine is out next, lowering Abomasnow's attack before we hit it with a U-turn. We bring This Way out. He takes very little damage from a Blizzard. We then hit a Flash Cannon, leaving Abomasnow with barely any HP before it hits us with an Earthquake. Earthquake brings us down to just over half HP. Candace uses a full restore here, giving us the chance to use 2 Flash Cannons in a row. After the first one, Aurora Veil goes down, meaning the second will do even more damage, taking Abomasnow out, and winning us another gym badge. Now we have to finish up the Team Galactic storyline. We head over to Veilstone where we have our first fight with Cyrus. He opens with his Murkrow, and we send out This Way, who takes out Murkrow with a single Ice Beam. Next up is his Golbat, who goes down to 2 Ice Beams. And finally, he has his Sneasel, which goes down to a single Flash Cannon. Afterwards is our second fight with Saturn. He opens with his Kadabra, and we bring out Sunshine. Sunshine outspeeds and takes out Kadabra with a single U-turn, and we replace him with Dinosaur as he sends out Toxicroak. Toxicroak hits Dinosaur with a Toxic, but that gives us the chance to land a Zen Headbutt for the one-hit KO. Next up is his Bronzor, but a couple Thieves is enough to take it out. We train up a bit more for our final confrontation against Team Galactic. Unfortunately, Yusei dies during this training. After our training session, we head up to Spear Pillar to take on Cyrus for the last time. But first we have a double battle against Mars and Jupiter with the help of our rival. Both of them open up with their Bronzors, and we start the fight with This Way the Empoleon and a Munchlax. We immediately start hitting Surfs, dealing a decent amount of damage to both the Bronzors, but they set up a Reflect and confuse Munchlax. Next turn, we're able to hit another Surf, which takes out Jupiter's Bronzor, stopping it from setting up a Light Screen. And Munchlax takes out the second Bronzor with a Bite. Skuntank and Purugly are out next. Purugly immediately goes for a Body Slam, taking Munchlax out, and we hit a Flash Cannon on Skuntank before it lands a Flamethrower, burning us. Our rival brings Staraptor out next. It goes for a close combat, but Purugly used Dig beforehand, so it avoids it. We land another Flash Cannon on Skuntank in the meantime. Not wanting to take damage from Dig, we swap into our own Staraptor, and with no target, Dig misses, but then our rival uses Close Combat on Skuntank instead of Purugly, and then Skuntank takes it out. Heracross comes out next, but thanks to all the Intimidate attack drops, Purugly's Aerial Ace doesn't do much to it. Then Sunshine takes it out with Close Combat. Heracross outspeeds and takes out Skuntank with one more Brick Break. All that's left is both of their Golbats. We hit him with a U-turn and switch into this way, who both Golbats have no way of threatening. A couple more Ice Beams is all it takes to take out both Golbats, winning us the fight. Next up is our battle with Cyrus. He opens with Honchkrow, who survives an Ice Beam from this way before hitting us with a critical hit Night Slash. He uses a full restore on the next turn, letting us hit another Ice Beam, which almost takes Honchkrow out again. He then switches to Weavile and another Ice Beam, and Weavile threatens us out, so we have to switch. We swap into Sunshine as Weavile uses Dig. It comes back up the next turn. Despite taking half damage thanks to its Chople Berry, close combat is enough to take it out in one shot. Gyarados is out next, so we hit it with a U-turn and switch into 1,000 Miles. 1,000 Miles evades an Ice Fang before being hit by Waterfall. Luckily, we don't flinch and we hit Gyarados back with a Thunderbolt, but thanks to its Wakan Berry, Gyarados survives. Gyarados hits another Waterfall, but doesn't survive the upcoming Thunderbolt this time. Crobat is out next, and it goes for a Sludge Bomb, but we swapped into this way, who's immune. Crobat sets up a Tailwind before being hit hard by a critical hit Ice Beam, almost taking it out in one shot. Crobat then uses U-turn, switching into Honchkrow, who gets hit by an Ice Beam and faints. Crobat is back out, but it can't escape from our Ice Beam this time, and it goes down. And with that, Team Galactic's plans are over, and all we have left to do is fight Dialga. We start our fight with Dialga by sending out Away, the Medicham. Dialga immediately uses Roar of Time, which one-hit KOs Away, but because Dialga can't move next turn now, we can switch Sunshine in, who takes it out with 2 close combats. Now, in preparation for the 8th Gym Leader, we head to Iron Island to train and grab a Shiny Stone. Unfortunately, while we're there, take it on the dies. And shortly after, the Distance is hit by a critical hit Psyshock and also dies. And in the same fight, Pumped Up Kicks also goes down to the same Kadabra. But we try to make up for it by catching a Machoke, who we named Dog Days, and we also evolve Caroline into a Garchomp. Moving on to our fight with Volkner, the 8th Gym Leader, he opens with his Raichu, and we open with Of Life, our newly evolved Roserade. Raichu immediately uses Volt Switch and swaps into his Ambipom, who gets taken out by a single Sludge Bomb. He sends out his Octillery next for some reason, and it goes down to a single Giga Drain. Raichu comes back out, and it hits us with another Volt Switch. Swapping into Luxray, he takes a strong Sludge Bomb, poisoning it, and using up its Citrus Berry. Luxray then outspeeds us and hits us with an Ice Fang, causing us to flinch and leaving us with just 9 HP, so we have to switch out. We switch in Dog Days the Machamp. Dog Days survives an Ice Fang on the switch, and Volkner uses a full restore to heal up his Luxray. But we hit it with an Earthquake, leaving it with barely any HP left. He hits us with an Iron Tail, leaving us at just 45 HP, but goes down to an Earthquake on the next turn. All that's left is his Raichu, so we switch into Caroline, who Raichu can do nothing about, and we take it out, winning our final gym badge. We make our way through Victory Road, and once we're at the Pokemon League, we have our final 6 battles in front of us, starting with Quadruped Fan, our rival. He opens with his Staraptor, and we open with 1,000 Miles. He hits us with a Pluck, and we retaliate with Thunderbolt. Staraptor survives thanks to its Focus Sash. It hits us with another Pluck, but thanks to our cute Charm ability, it becomes infatuated. We're able to heal all the damage we took with a Moonlight. In the next turn, Staraptor is immobilized, and we take it out with a Thunderbolt. Rapidash is next, and it tries to hit 1,000 Miles with a Poison Jab, but we swap into This Way, who's immune. It hits us with a Flame Wheel on the next turn, before being taken out by a single Surf. Torterra is out next, and we hit it with an Ice Beam that it survives off of what must be 1 HP. And it hits us back with an Earthquake, but we in turn survive off of 7 HP, and hit it back with an Ice Beam on the next turn, taking it out. Next up is a Snorlax, who immediately goes for Earthquake, but we switch into Sunshine, who's immune. We hit it with a Close Combat the next turn, but Snorlax survives and hits us with Yawn, so we're forced to use U-turn. But our rival switches out for Heracross, who takes very little damage from the U-turn. So we bring out 1,000 miles. Heracross uses Swords Dance, but the attack boost won't matter as it goes down to a single Dazzle and Gleam. Snorlax comes back in, but it also goes down to Dazzle and Gleam. All that's left is his Floatzel. It outspeeds and hits us with an Ice Fang, which freezes us, but we thaw out eventually and hit it with a Thunderbolt, taking it out in one shot. All that's left is the Elite Four. We bring up all of our Pokemon to the level cap, and we're ready to go. Our team consists of This Way the Empoleon, 1,000 Miles the Clefable, Dog Days the Machamp, Sunshine the Staraptor, Rick the Gengar, and Caroleon the Garchomp. First up is Aaron, and we decide to start with This Way against his Dustox. We immediately set up Stealth Rocks as he goes for a Light Screen. We begin to spam Surf, slowly whittling it down. It takes a while, but eventually Light Screen breaks and Dustox goes down. And thanks to that, every single one of our Pokemon level up. Heracross comes out next. It outspeeds us and goes for a Brick Break, but misses before we hit it with a Charm, cutting its attack in half. Its Flame Orb then activates, burning it, essentially doubling its attack thanks to its ability. We switch into 1,000 Miles on a critical hit Brick Break, but it takes out less than half of our HP. It hits us with a Facade, this always said Facade, on the next turn before being taken out by Dazzle and Gleam. Beautifly is out next, and it hits us with a Psychic before going down to a single Thunderbolt. Next up is Vespiquen. It loses half of its HP to Stealth Rocks, but immediately heals some of it with its Citrus Berry. We outspeed and hit it with a Thunderbolt, but it barely survives before hitting us with a double power Acrobatics. But we survive off of 12 HP. Aaron uses a full restore on the next turn, and we hit it with another Thunderbolt, this time scoring a critical hit which almost takes out Vespiquen. So he once again uses a full restore, and we hit it with another Thunderbolt. This time he doesn't heal, and we hit it with a fourth Thunderbolt, taking it out. Up next is Aaron's last Pokemon, a Drapion, who switched to Sunshine on a Cross Poison, lowering its attack before taking very little damage. We hit it with a U-turn next, and swap into Dog Days. Drapion hits us with another Cross Poison, taking out more than half of our HP with a critical hit. The Dog Days lands an Earthquake, taking out Drapion. With that, the first Elite Four member has been beaten, with no casualties. Up next is Bertha. She starts with her Quagsire, and we start with Sunshine. Sunshine immediately uses Sunny Day as Quagsire hits us with Toxic, but before we can take any poison damage, Sunshine shrugs it off, and we hit Quagsire with a U-turn. Switching into 1,000 Miles. Quagsire goes for another Toxic, but misses. In the next turn, 1,000 Miles outspeeds, and thanks to the sun, uses a one-turn Solar Beam, taking out Quagsire immediately. Next up is Whiscash, and once again we go for Solar Beam. And despite its Rindo Berry cutting our damage in half, we still manage to take it out in one shot. Sudowoodo is next, and once again, we outspeed and take it out with a single Solar Beam. Golem is next, and thanks to its sturdy ability, we can't take it out with one shot. So we switch into this way on a heavy slam. And it does so little damage that our leftovers completely heal us the next turn. Golem goes for an Earthquake on the next turn, but we swap into Sunshine, avoiding it entirely. We hit it with a U-turn, breaking its sturdy, and swap back into this way, who tanks a Stone Edge. Unfortunately, it turns out Golem actually outspeeds this way, and hits us with an Earthquake, but we survive and hit it with a Grass Knot in return, taking it out. All that's left is Hippowdon, so we switch into Sunshine on an Earthquake, and immediately go for Sunny Day. Hippowdon hits us with an Ice Fang, leaving us at just over half HP, so we hit it with a U-turn on the next turn, and we swap back into 1,000 Miles, who avoids the Ice Fang on the switch, and takes out Hippowdon with a Solar Beam on the next turn. That's 2 Elite Four members down, with 0 deaths. Next up is Ronald McDonald himself. He starts with a Rapidash, and we send out this way. Unfortunately, we forgot to teach this way Stealth Rocks again. Rapidash hits us with a Hypnosis, but thanks to our Chesto Berry, we immediately wake up and hit it back with a Surf, taking it out in one shot. Lopunny is out next. Expecting the high jump kick, we swap into Rick, and Lopunny immediately loses half of its HP. We hit it with a Psychic on the next turn, but it's not enough to take out Lopunny as it hits us with a Fire Punch. Flint uses a full restore, stopping us from taking it out with a single Psychic on the next turn, so we're gonna have to try to whittle it down. It doesn't look like Rick's gonna be able to take out Lopunny, so we have to switch him out for this way. Psych, we bring Rick back in on a high jump kick. Lopunny loses half its HP and goes down to a Dark Pulse the next turn. Get wrecked, idiot. Steelix is next. Steelix goes for a Crunch, but we swapped into Sunshine, lowering his attack. We hit it with a U-turn on the next turn, and expecting it to go for Thunder Fang, we swap into Carolean, but he goes for Iron Tail, so we take more damage than we're expecting, and we go for Dig on the next turn. Dig isn't enough to take out Steelix, so it hits us with another Iron Tail. We take a lot more damage than we're expecting, but a second Dig takes it out. Drifblim is next, so we swap into 1,000 Miles as it uses Minimize. And then we begin to miss absolutely everything. Eventually, it uses Baton Pass and switches into Infernape. It hits us hard with a Fire Punch, but we hit it back even harder with a Psychic. It hits us with another Fire Punch, almost taking out 1,000 Miles, and then it avoids our second Psychic. So, we can't keep 1,000 Miles in, we have to swap out. We bring Dog Days out, he tanks the Fire Punch pretty well. Infernape then goes for a close combat, almost taking out Dog Days, but he uses Earthquake as a follow-up, taking out Infernape. All that's left is Drifblim. Drifblim doesn't actually have any attacking moves, but it is really annoying to deal with, and it eventually goes down. With the McDonald's man out of the way, up next is Lucian, the final Elite Four member. He starts with his Mr. Mime, and we start with this way. We start pelting it with flash cannons even after it uses Light Screen, and eventually it goes down, and he sends Medicham out next. This fool has just fallen for my master plan. He's going to go for High Jump Kick, and we can switch into Rick the Gengar. But this isn't just any normal Gengar, this is a physical Gengar, and we skill swap his Pure Power ability onto us, doubling our attack. Gengar is now unstoppable. Nothing he does will be able to survive a single attack from Gengar. Oh. Well, Gengar's dead. Rick is dead. We bring in 1,000 Miles to avenge Rick. Dazzling Gleam takes out Medicham. Alakazam is up next, and we swap into Carolean on a Nasty Plot. Alakazam tries to set up a second nasty plot, but it goes down to a single crunch afterwards. Girafarig is out next, and it's outspat and taken out by a single crunch. All that's left is Bronzong, but it can do nothing as Caroline eats it as well. All that's left is Cynthia, the champion. She opens with her Spiritomb, and we open with 1,000 miles. A couple dazzling gleams is all it takes to take out Spiritomb, and it goes down without dealing any damage to us. Roserade is out next, so we swap into this way on a Sludge Bomb, completely blocking the damage. Roserade outspeeds and hits us with an Energy Ball, leaving us at just over half of our HP, but also lowering our special defense, and we hit it with an Ice Beam on the next turn, bringing it to just under half HP. Knowing we have to switch, we bring out Sunshine, but she also switches. She brings out her Lucario, and it goes for a nasty plot, but goes down to a close combat in the same turn. You fool. Melodic is out next, and we switch into 1,000 miles instead of using U-turn for some reason. We begin setting up workups and using Moonlight to keep us healthy before hitting it hard with a Thunderbolt. Unfortunately, Melodic survives. Expecting a full restore, we set up another workup, but she switches into Roserade. So, knowing another Sludge Bomb is coming, we swap into this way. Trying to heal up as much as we can, we swap into Sunshine afterwards. Roserade then goes for another Sludge Bomb, but we can swap back into this way, getting an extra turn of leftovers healing. Roserade hits us hard with an Energy Ball, but leaves us with a decent amount of HP as we take it out with Ice Beam. Gastrodon is out next, and it goes for an Earthquake, but we swap into Sunshine. Sunshine then lands a U-turn, and we can swap into Dog Days, just as Gastrodon goes for Rock Tomb, lowering our speed. Dog Days hits Gastrodon with a knockoff, taking away its leftovers, before it hits us with another Rock Tomb. We then spam Low Sweep as Gastrodon keeps going for Rock Tomb, until eventually it goes down. Melodic comes back out. We then swap back into 1,000 miles, and we begin to set up workups again, before we finally take out Melodic with a Thunderbolt. Next up is her final Pokemon, Garchomp. It outspeeds 1,000 miles, and takes it out with a single Poison Jab. Machamp is out next. Maybe we can lower its speed with Low Sweep, but Garchomp outspeeds and hits us with an Earthquake, and the Dog Days are over. Sunshine is out next. Garchomp sets up a Swords Dance while we hit it hard with Brave Bird, but it takes us out the next turn with a Dragon Claw. This way is next. Garchomp uses Earthquake, but it misses. This way lands a double super effective Ice Beam, but thanks to Garchomp's Yachi Berry, it survives. But it also freezes. Cynthia uses a full restore on the next turn, completely healing Garchomp. We land another Ice Beam, but once again it survives, and Garchomp takes out this way with an Earthquake on the next turn. All that's left is our own Garchomp, Caroline. Her Garchomp outspeeds and uses Dragon Claw, but thanks to our Haban Berry, we survive, and we hit back with a Dragon Claw of our own, taking out her Garchomp and winning us the run. It's all thanks to 1,000 miles the Clefable. This way the Empoleon. Dog Days the Machamp. Sunshine the Staraptor. Not you, you failed me, Rick. And Caroline the Garchomp. That we've managed to win the bipedal Pokemon only run. And with that, thank you for watching.